Welcome to Hello Chaos, the show where founders, innovators, and chaotic minds get real, get unfiltered about the mess, the magic, and the mayhem of entrepreneurship. I am Jennifer Sutton, JJ, as my friends and family call me. I'm your host and fellow work in progress. And today we have Cynthia Johnson. She's the co founder of Bell and Ivy, which is a personal and employee branding firm, and co-founder of Wonder Key Collective, which I'm super curious of learning more about that, a nonprofit focused on collecting and redistributing corporate tech to foster youth. Cynthia is also an author of a book, The Art and Science of Personal Branding. We have a lot in common, and I cannot wait to get into your journey and your story. But welcome, Cynthia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. No, I'm excited. I love talking to other founders and sort of relating out loud.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited. So, start us out. How did you? Which came first? Did Bell and Ivy come first, or did um, the Wonder Key Collective come first?
Oh, so Bell and Ivy came first,
Okay,
and Wonder Key what came out of the
out
pandemic.
of the. All right. Well, okay. So, tell me the journey. What made you start Bell and Ivy? How did you get into this? What inspired you to take the leap?
So, the leap. That is at the time it felt like I escaped. I was like, some say leap.
Did
I
you work?
was.
Did you work in the agents? So, I have Orange Whip, which is the media company that I started a few years ago because there was a gap in the entrepreneur space of telling the broader spectrum of stories and the realities. My founder first, I own a marketing agency, branding, marketing, full service agency here in Greenville, and we work with clients all over. But I grew up in the agency space, so it's not an easy. So when you say escape, I feel like that's what I was doing when I started.
Yeah.
Right, marketing was I was escaping, and really doing an agency and a business model that hadn't really been done, and was kind of taking all the negatives that I had experienced and tried to make it a positive experience. So I'm curious. And it's so funny when you say the art and science, that is my, when I talk about branding and marketing for companies, it is the seamless integration between art and science. So it's like we're like mind meld on a lot of things. So tell me, what were you escaping from?
Yeah, and before I say the art and science is beautiful. I have always believed that art is your expression, but science indicates collaboration, right? It
Ah,
means we've taken other people into consideration in the process and their experience.
yeah.
So the art part is a lot more fun once you
Yeah,
connect it to your mission in life.
right.
So it really should be science and art, but we'll get to that.
Correct. And I look at it's not just collaboration, but also the processes that it take, the discipline, there's so much like method, um, and advertise. There's so much math, right? So there's like this, and how to understand behaviors. So much, but you're right. It should be because it comes first. It's
It should.
you got to figure all of that out before you know how to express it.
Yeah, I think
And
Rick Rubin would argue and say the other way. And he's the real genius here, but I don't know. I, uh, I started in agency work. I had a pretty lengthy career of quitting things, and I just didn't like being. Every time you end up somewhere and you look around, you're like, wait, sorry, this is it. This is what am I doing? Like,
right,
you know,
right. Do I fit in? Do I even like what I'm doing?
exactly.
Yeah.
I would rather invest my time in, avoiding my landlord at 25 than in being in this building with you. So that aside, I ended up working on the platform side of a social media website,
Okay.
the first ever live streaming website, and I was introduced to the human part, right? And you get on, use social media and you share and you do these things. You don't realize there's real people back there.
Right.
And they ended up closing because the technology became a little outdated and the cost to update it
Okay.
was not, and they sold it off for parts. But I immediately went and posted, as you do. And I was like, hey, I just lost my job. Who wants to hire me? And this person I knew in high school in a different state messaged me. He's like, I live here now in Los Angeles, and we're hiring for just that.
Hmm.
And I was like,
Things
okay.
happen for a reason.
I was like, I'm there. I will go. But he was really smart in school. He like graduated a year early, did the whole, you know, and then I got an email and it was an SEO agency. I was like, SE what? This is not gonna work out for me. But I went anyway. And I remember the founder was like an hour late and he came in, he was so chaotic. And he was both apologizing, but then like sort of also telling me that, I should just be fine. And I
This
thought,
is our world, the chaos, right?
yeah,
Like,
exactly. And I remember I thought to myself, oh, I could work for you. Like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And we went through the interview process, and I remember, yeah, it was my friend from high school I hadn't seen almost 10 years, and then I guess 7, but and then the founder, and they said, "How do you feel about addiction?" And I said, "Not good." Like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And then it was, so basically their clients were all behavioral health clients.
okay.
And I've created their social media department. Now, this is again in 2013. Nobody was talking about mental health.
Right.
Okay. Like nobody was saying anything online about their mental health.
Right. No.
And
Yeah.
it became a challenge. And it was a challenge that I talked about openly. And it turned out that most people do not have cool social media jobs. In fact, most people have like the boring social media job that I had.
Right.
So those, that's kind of the followers stepped in and I became partner at that agency. And then we were acquired by a large corporate healthcare company.
Oh, wow.
And then,
So you got to experience that.
and that's where
Uh,
I was like, so because of the acquisition, I ended up becoming I ran all of the brand development,
oh, wow.
which was, I went from a small team to 12 direct reports in different states, and then, another, I don't even 25 indirect reports. And we had 8, we acquired 8 facilities and 3 de novo projects, and it was
So
crazy.
gigantic. Yeah. Not
Uh,
just in process, but a lot of people. Like,
yes.
yeah.
And it's a company that serves people. And then there's like all of these people. um, and they had this reputation management. Now, the arrangement in the deals, I couldn't leave, but they also couldn't fire me. So I had to stay. I think it was like a year. It was a really wild year. And
Well, the transition too of like, did anybody help with the like, or did they just go, "Hey, we're putting you in this position, and here's all these people, and go"? Was there any onboarding? Any like, "Hey, this is our culture that we need you to uphold. This is." Did you have in like any of that?
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Sink or swim?
it was sink or swim,
Mm.
sort of, but their expectations weren't that high because they'd never really done this. I yeah, and we had 15 people in Santa Monica, California. We had 60 people in San Diego. And then we were merging with a marketing team in Nashville, which had another, I think, maybe 60 people ish, and then
Wow.
developers. And then the company had 2,500 employees total.
Wow.
By the time,
All over. Yeah.
all over the country. Yeah. And so I was like, this is great. If I'm going to market this thing, I need to be closest to the people who've been to treatment, the
Right.
people who sell the treatment. Like, I need to know what they're saying. And I was introduced to this wild world of human stories. right? And um, because of there was a little bit of a reputation management, what
Mhm.
we did was we actually sent out a questionnaire like form to everyone in the company and said, tell us what you do on outside, give us a little bit of your story, and we leverage the employees in the marketing. And I said, why
Nice.
don't we just tell the truth?
Novel.
Here's an idea. We have 2,500 people
Right.
who have connections of their own, and we could take those marketing dollars that you're going to spend and waste, most likely, and we could give it back to the employees
Mhm.
and put them in the billboards, put them in the podcast, put them in the media and the news, and that's what we did, and it worked really well.
Quick note, our next round of field guides are in production and we're closing sponsor slots soon. So get on board. We've got three field guides that are in the works. We have a founder starter kit, we have a pre-seed playbook, and then we've taken an independent view of the South Carolina ecosystem because that's the state that we are based in. We took an independent lens in the innovation ecosystem and the gaps and what's needed, the opportunities that exist for founders. It's a really interesting perspective of the ecosystem, and we're looking for partners and sponsors for that field guide. We'd love to feature sponsors who believe in building better ecosystems for entrepreneurs, organizations that want real visibility among founders and business owners, or organizations that are ready to be a part of something that delivers value and not noise in the space. So you can sponsor the Hello Chaos podcast, our digital field guides, the resource navigator, the dynamic resource navigator. You can sponsor even the weekly whip that founders use to find the information they need quickly in order to scale and grow. So if you're interested in supporting our community, go to our website at Orange WIP, and that's Orange WIP for work in progress. Download a media kit or send an email to hello at orangewipwip.com. And we will work with you to align what your needs are, your content, and how do we deliver that into our founder community.
So, uh, as any good corporate company does, they stopped because all of a
Because it was
sudden it's like
working
out of control. You know what I mean? Even though it's working, it's like it's almost like too
too
much
real.
for the time. You know,
Mm.
they and so it was a little bit limited. But we thought like the head of HR was a. By the way, this woman is in her 60s, you know, and very quiet, very mild mannered. She was a race car driver on the weekends.
Wow.
Like if that doesn't inspire you, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
And so I realized that the problem I was trying to solve for, I could not fix from the inside.
Yeah.
So I left and I started Bell and Ivy to work with teams and people uh, to take back those billions of dollars in wasted content every year,
Hmm.
redirect it internally, and take back the risk of social media at your company and turn it into a useful, collaborative, engaging tool.
Right.
Uh,
Because a lot of companies are afraid of letting people celebrate themselves within, and champion their own brand. I mean, it's like you want every employee to be a brand ambassador.
Not if you're scared of the truth, because the truth
Uh,
will always come out.
hmm,
And uh, many companies know, they know that people are unhappy, or they know
hmm,
that there's leadership vacuums, or they know that,
right,
right? And then if you were to do this, it could backfire. And the fear is what keeps you back. Now, what they tend to not think at first is that there's always a positive in every company. That's why the people are there.
right,
So if the lens is switched and then the freedom is given through that, you could actually shift perception and
right,
make the change.
right.
Uh,
Because that's in management and people strategies. We were just talking about this earlier of like when we go into companies, some of the big red flags of somebody needs a rebrand or a refresh or refinement, clarity around a story. is when they have either on their walls or, within their materials of like, our what differentiates us is integrity, uh, honesty, trustworthy. And I was like, oh, those are red flags of one that doesn't differentiate you as a company, but also what we have found over 30 years of working with companies of you can't like those have to be shown in action. You can't just make those statements. Um, and when we go in and do the employee engagement surveys, we find there's a lot of skeletons because when someone's like, "Hey, we're all about integrity," well, guess what? And you preach that internally, people internally going to go, "Yeah, I know some secrets." Like
Yeah.
there's there's not a lot of honesty here, and you just become a target
It,
versus celebrate what your strengths are, celebrate why people came to work for you, celebrate your impact that you're having to the audience that you're solving problems for, and focus those energies around, and building teams and building your culture. But you're right, there is this like um, fear of, even when we come in and do branding, I have to do our brand workshops. I have to call them brand therapy because it is therapy sessions and we have to make people comfortable to talk and collaborate and not be afraid to, um, well, we say we need to know the good, the bad, and the ugly in order to transform. And we also try to applaud the leadership to go, you've brought us in. Like, hey, team, they brought us in. They need the help to transform, to make the changes, but we can't do it if we're hiding behind something. Um, but you're right. There is fear is has been the word of this year. Um, fear of, like, I think there's some uncertainty out, in the climate, but also when we just talk about branding and kind of getting in, whew, fear of change,
yes.
fear of finding out or being found out.
So this I was watched this commencement speech from years ago recently that popped up, and he said, uh, when people start to see your light, they'll only notice because you're also surrounded by darkness,
Oh,
and it's
oh,
it is very, very true that if we don't find the light in the inside,
mm-hmm.
they'll only see darkness.
Right.
And I personally believe through my experience, because I get every seat at the table as well, and I understand that it's easy to say these things.
Right.
In practice, when you're the one who is the founder's invested, when you're the one who's carrying the risk, when you're the one who is the executive at the company, and the job market's not as streamlined, and your lifestyle is probably much better than it should be. um, there is fear. There is fear there, and I don't want to discredit that at all. But if I were to give anyone any piece of advice, I'd say hire people that love what you do,
Hmm.
because that can change everything.
Yeah.
Not love their part in the thing, like they need to love the thing,
Yeah.
and because their part might not get the recognition they think it should, if that's the thing that they love the most and you don't understand it. That's why you hired them in conflict, right?
Uh-uh.
And that's vision
Right.
and vision, which I know is branding. You
That's right.
understand. Um, Actually, when I started Bell and Ivy, and I went to this event. It was 3 months. The company's like 3 months old, and the very well-known VC from the Valley, who I will not name, told me I should quit now. No one will ever do that and give their employees that much control. And I said, I can tell you've been doing this a long time
Hmm.
because you have no future vision.
Right.
And the truth is that uh, he was both right and wrong.
Hmm.
So yes, it was going at that time difficult, but 2 years later, we actually contracted with Walmart and
Hmm.
helped them build their employee ambassador program. and they're the biggest employer in the world. They're
Yeah.
the largest employer in the world, and they took that leap. They did it right before COVID, so, that's another traumatic event in my life, but to know that.
But they recognized they needed to do something,
Correct,
and
and
they have, their biggest audience, their biggest potential of opportunity is inside their walls or inside of their company structure.
and they had 5,400 stores in the US, so those are advertising channels. If
Yeah.
5,400 stores can post to Instagram at the same time, so
Yeah.
now they're not they instead of spending the billions of dollars in content they don't use, which I'm sure they're doing anyway, but let's say they aren't, they're making, $250,000 a week
Right.
in advertising. Now they're an advertising company. And that's when I realized why Walmart's been around so long.
Right.
It was like in their brand guidelines that the associate's voice is the most important,
Mhm.
which you wouldn't know that because they've done a bunch of other things. The founder had a grip on it before it became corporate. And that's where the corporate piece I realized is like what you do with your company is just as important as what you do when you're at your company
Yeah.
and why you start it. Um, and yeah, so I did that right into COVID, and that was traumatic for sure.
Well, so what have you learned most about yourself in this journey?
Yes, I have learned that I I am more adaptable
Mm.
than I am at committing to the thing sometimes. And so I've had to reduce my adaptability
Mm.
in order to see things through. And I feel with a lot of founders, those first couple years are so traumatic
Oh, they're hard. Yeah.
that you end up in this permanent fight or flight mode.
Mm.
That if you do not exit, you're just going to drive yourself into the ground. I mean, I try not to speak in matter of fact, but I'm pretty positive that's what will happen.
And and you're a co-founder, so you had a partner in this.
I did. I did.
Yeah.
No longer.
Oh.
Mhm.
Okay. I need to hear about that.
It's very recent, so good terms, but we survived COVID together. So we were at the agency. We became partners at that
Okay.
agency. We were at the next company. We started this company together. We've worked with, yeah, it's just a very our kids have the same birth. Like it's very, if karmic relationships are a thing, this is definitely one. So I and he, as we both did, got married, had a kid, and had an opportunity to take over a family business. And to
Mm.
be quite honest, I would have done it earlier. I would have done it sooner. And so this is my first year as a solo entrepreneur.
So yeah, running the all the decisions,
Oh,
all
jointly.
everything. So did as your roles as did you guys have distinct roles of like um he was more the forward facing, you were the behind the scenes, or vice versa, or did you guys block and tackle based on tasks? And then now that you're on your own, what do you feel is the most like vulnerable, scary part?
I so we had very clear
Roles.
roles because that's why we had worked so well together in the past. He
Yeah.
very operational, but could step into my role and vice versa. It's like we have those skills, but we're clearly more skilled in one
One of the
area.
yeah.
Um, and and so for me, I think the scariest part was taxes. I'm like, so sorry, how do
The accounting part, yeah. Yes.
how do
Because
wait?
we're not, we're not trained in that. That's not our thing.
Oh,
Um, yeah,
yeah.
it's unless you're. I mean, even I coach a lot of startups that are accountants and accounting firms, and they struggle with scale. Even though they know the numbers, so even those folks struggle with how those numbers apply to their business from a scalability and operations perspective, but they just know like they can run their P&Ls pretty well. They know how to structure their books, but that's the only advantage.
Mhm.
But I would say, yeah, that the finances and managing the numbers and that I think is the biggest struggle for the highest majority
It's like,
of
I'm like, let's
this.
open an office in, New York. And he's like, oh, we got to get a business license. And I'm like, okay. And now I'm like, I'm so sorry. Put you through this
Right.
because I'm like, make a couple calls, but I'll see if
Yeah. You're
eventually.
like, what is the barrier? Just do it. And they're like,
Mm,
here's some legal things we need.
we need an office in Santa Monica. And he's like, I'm like, no, no. And then I come on and I realize, oh, that's right. We're paying 1% of gross receipts, which if anyone doesn't know, that means 1% of your sales, no matter what you walk away with.
Right.
And that's just the city tax, not the
Uh,
county, not the state, not the federal. Uh, and yeah, you definitely learn. As a founder, you eventually do learn the the beauty of each role,
yeah.
usually in its
Absolutely.
absence. So,
Right. Right.
mhm.
Yeah. The nuts and bolts, the numbers, and it really does like you're like, oh my gosh, how how do I scale? How do I um like what other hidden costs are going to come that I haven't even thought of?
That's right. There's a balance between real and relevant, and
Oh,
it's
that's good.
it's
Yeah.
this. Most founders do lean towards relevant.
Mm,
Because why would you start a business unless you thought there was business to bring in?
right.
That's the truth. And sometimes we overlook the real part
Mm.
because you get bring them in now. You gotta you gotta serve
Mega.
those clients. You gotta pay the employees, and then it's yeah. It's not just a sale. It's
How
it's
do we get it to
how do we make it make sense?
right? Right.
Mhm.
So what has been I'm curious of like, your biggest oh shit moment now, but what was the biggest oh shit moment when you guys started that like and went through the journey together? Or was it the, hey, I need to go take over my family's business. See ya. Was that like the biggest oh shit?
No, no, no. Definitely that was not the biggest. We ran a campaign with Walmart.
Okay.
Now, we were in negotiations with them with a life-changing
Hmm.
deal, and
Like company changing. This is going to set.
40 million plus annual.
Wow.
Okay, and we we ran the campaign, which was the idea of creating micro studios for Walmart stores, and then launching their own brand activations because they have so many spaces. That's a lot
Wow.
of space. What do you do with this?
Yeah.
So many
Real
employees,
estate. That's right.
right? And they Walmart goes into a town and they get 30,000 applications. Okay. So
Oh, yeah.
their impact, we should be focusing on how to make them better, not fighting their, existence because truly,
Right.
um, there's, there's a lot of interesting facts about that company. So we're like, okay, how do studios would be great or what?
I mean, they're like you said, they're an economic driver in these communities.
They
Yeah,
are.
contributor. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we filmed, at Christmas in the stores in Utah, which by the way, I'd never been inside of a Walmart at Christmas. Oh my gosh. What? And then we launched the campaign. We had enough data to create a case study about it, got the opportunity to put the case study together and present at an event in Vegas in front of, it was like the CMO of Starbucks and Pizza Hut. And I mean, this is one
Oh,
of those,
wow.
you walk in thinking my life is about to change, right?
Right.
It was. But
Oh,
then as we are giving the presentation, there is a sudden shift of energy in the room and people are getting up and leaving. And I'm like,
during your presentation.
correct. And
Oh
so,
my
of course,
gosh.
you're thinking, what have I done?
Right.
But then when we were done with the presentation, we realized that the Adobe Summit and the NBA had canceled for COVID, and that
Mhm.
all of the Walmart stores were now essential workers and COVID locations. And that
Wow.
was the end of that. So we went back to our office and we went through our client list. We let go the people we thought weren't going to survive it and should spend elsewhere. And we started calling people we thought should double down.
Mm.
And we moved all of our employees remote very, very quickly. Uh, and then it was the beginning of a new chapter, really.
Yeah. Did you guys pivot your agency after that? Or just
We did.
stayed in your lane, but maybe did you guys have to shift?
We shifted. We shifted from founders and
Mm.
from companies, and because we knew like this isn't make and even if a founder was successful during COVID, high likelihood that COVID was the reason. Therefore, the long lengthy, and so
Right.
we thought we actually shifted toward finance, healthcare, and technology, so health tech, fintech, and found a really interesting niche area in the family office and healthcare space because
So like doctor's offices, dentist, like that? Like,
more like executive level physicians. Now during COVID,
oh,
everyone was accessible
yeah. Yeah.
and everyone needed to figure out how to talk to their employees. They needed to know who they were. They needed all of these tools, and we knew we could give that to them. I mean, we ran training sessions for Walmart employees in large sales teams in Italy, and
Wow.
we basically just said, look, everyone jump in and start doing whatever you can to help. And if we do
Mm.
that, we'll survive this thing. We did. We survived it. Um, and we opened the door for a really new and interesting type of company. And then I got pregnant and had a baby, as you do. And the world, we didn't lose any employees at the time,
Right.
which is nice.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Mhm. And we, yeah, had a baby, came back. The world opened back up again, and employees were dispersed everywhere. And we were like, what are we going to do now? And we
Right.
just went right back into it. But now we were hosting, uh, um, investor events
Mm.
and uh, family office events and helping with like legacy content and this just like a new thing. Then his wife got pregnant.
Yeah.
And we went really hard. Like we had our biggest year ever in 2023. Through that experience, what I realized was that what we were doing was not gonna was not
Was not sustainable.
because the emphasis on promoting and getting out was no longer actually what people need, nor do they want, because there's content everywhere. There's media everywhere, and we all understand now that it's largely being directed in different places.
Right.
It's a tough investment to make, unless, of course, you are the big, company, the big.
Right.
But what's really important now is the ability to prove you are who you say you are, the
Mm.
ability
The
to
authenticity.
the human
Human.
part of
Okay.
the narrative, the perception.
Mm.
Uh, that's really important, especially in these legacy families as we were working through, and with these doctors. How people feel about you is very, very important.
Mm.
And in the legacy families, they don't always want all of that attention, because it does at a certain point in your career or at a certain level flip.
Yeah.
You need a brand for the people who need to know, but you don't necessarily need a brand for everyone to know. So we see this happening and we're like, okay,
That's
but
fascinating. Yeah.
why did I start this company? We started the company because we wanted real people inside of real companies to know how to extract value from their own career in a way that helped them grow and be seen. And that if everyone could have a voice, these companies would be forced to tell the truth and we'd have more honesty and more companies, right?
Right.
And so
I think then
perception
people can feel more connected and find purpose in what they're doing,
and
right?
yeah, and balance. Like
Mm.
is Harvard, a great school? Are you because you went there, or are you better because you went to Harvard? And
Mm.
there is
Interesting.
it does
Yeah.
switch. It changes. And that mindset could actually help your growth. You walk into a meeting thinking you're better, like you're like, let me see if they can handle me, Like it's
Right.
like, I need to go that far, but at least uh you don't need to sell yourself. You need to be yourself.
Yeah.
And um brands need to sell. That's their job. That's not
Mm.
your job. And so I had a little bit of a conflict happening because perception wasn't really what I signed up for.
Right.
Perspective.
Ah,
And now
okay.
I'm in this dilemma, right? Like which one is more
What are
important?
you doing?
Well, I'm not doing that. So and I had another kid through this discovery. So now I've got two kids, and it just the craziest year of my life ended maybe yesterday. So I think I've
So
changed.
2025 is like, okay, it's your rebuild year.
And I'm saying 2024 midway to right about now. Like, so half of 2024 and then the other half of 2025 was significant and
Yeah.
changed actually.
Life stage, everything. Yeah.
I mean, for every time, we had a couple of deaths and a couple of births. We had moves and divorces and marriages, and it was it was almost like it wasn't going to stop. And I'm
Yeah.
still dealing with the trauma of Walmart, so like this hasn't hit me yet. But my business partner, that's we end up in the beginning of 2025 um, reducing. Well, not so. We introduce the concept of what we think we're going to do next, and we
Right.
allow our team. Most actually, I think almost all of them had been there
Hmm.
since the beginning, and some even before that. So it was one of those things where I had to remind myself that if I don't tell them the truth, I'm hurting their career too. And
Yeah.
I, and they and my mantra is, I'm only loyal to the truth.
Hmm.
Everything else, you know, is because it turns out our truth is do match very
Hmm.
often. And so we, people decided to stay, some people decided not to stay.
Right.
Um, and then I went out and I had a baby and I came back, and, my business partner also says, I need to do this opportunity came. I'm like, okay, we worked through that, separating all of the things.
So hard.
It was. And then I fly back to New Jersey to see my husband's family. His father was in a home who had dementia. He just passed away last
Hmm.
month. And
Sorry about that.
yeah, so I told you
Yeah.
it's been and then as we flew into LA, it was on fire. And I was like, wait a second, what is actually happening?
You are it's the definition of welcome chaos, right?
And I'm like, okay, so it's week 1 of the new year. I don't have a business partner. I have 2 kids now.
Right.
And the city is on actual fire.
It's
Okay, we're gonna
how do I move forward,
we're
right?
fine. Yeah. So uh and yeah, that happened. But it was almost like everything was removed, but not because it just wasn't it all of it makes sense.
It gave
Sometimes
you clarity. Like you removed the fog.
you remove the fog.
Yeah.
And I was very much I need to if I get you think that it can't be done, let me see if I can do it. Well,
Yeah.
sometimes it takes years to realize that you're right or wrong. Like, you can blame timing and employees and your business partner. You can
Uh,
blame the entire world. And the truth is, I needed to also really reflect on how much I think I'm in control of.
how did that go?
The city burned down. We had a pandemic. I mean, I'm in control of
You're like,
nothing.
I am not in control of most things,
Yeah. Whoever,
but you are in control of a lot of things.
how you respond, right?
How you respond, right?
Uh-huh.
How
Yes.
you react, how you pivot, what yeah, all that.
All that. But
How you show up.
how you show up, uh, and now, yeah, now I'm here, and it's like very different. Everything feels very different. The direction's very different. I'm
Mm,
excited about where we're going, and things have started to feel easy.
yeah.
And
You're
that
getting,
ease. Yeah.
yeah. I know the feeling. I mean, like when it's like you've unloaded baggage,
Yes.
and
Yes.
cleared cleared the cobwebs, right? Now you can run a little bit faster, a little bit lighter.
Yes. Yes. And then like the recognizing your own evolution,
Hmm.
because me 10 years ago responded very differently than me now.
Yeah.
And it's not a failure on my part, it's a change, and that is also something I think to really.
Yeah, that's a big aha. I mean, I had to go through it I don't say failure in my vernacular anymore. It's just lessons learned. It's either wins or, lessons or blessings. I mean, that's, cause yeah,
you
there,
know
you learn something from everything, right? And sometimes your lessons are harder. They're either people lessons or they're operational lessons or clarity of the story, the narrative, your offering. Um, but I think what drives us and entrepreneurs different is like because we keep moving forward and we just keep, well, that didn't work. Oh, well, let me try this, or this doesn't feel right. Um, you make that transformative shift, and I do think that we all as founders, we all go through more of a self-reflective discovery period. I mean, I kind of went through mine. I mean, I look at like what a decade ago, I'm not the same person. I wish I would have gone through my coming of age story earlier, like in my 40s versus it was when I turned 50. I was like, oh, I feel like I'm like doing a whole coming of age. Where was this when I turned 30? Where was this when I turned 40? The aha. But, and I think we all have a different journey and different time and a different space. And it's like, I look back and go, God, do I wish I was like, but there were things that, you know, I had to go through during the time that I went through. Um, to be able to come out and have better clarity, perspective,
Mhm.
better perspective, much better perspective.
And there was a 50-year-old out there who knew and would have given
Who
it to
knew?
you if you were open.
Right now, would I have listened to him? I don't know. Maybe. I would, but like now, I love this podcast. We're 106. It's like I take away lessons and from every one of these. And I hope that as we share the stories, I know our listeners, I get little notes and DMs and emails from people that are like, "Oh my God, I wish I would have heard this 3 years ago, but I'm glad I'm hearing it now." You know,
Mhm.
um, but you gotta go through it. Like, don't be afraid to do self reflection.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the only way out. Literally, it's like there's like
is through,
there's
right? You got
no.
to go through it.
Yeah.
Um, what would be your? I mean, other than that, I mean, that's great advice, and I love the whole. I wasn't in it for perception; I was in it for perspective. Right? It was that.
Mhm.
Um, what is some of the best advice that you have received, especially in the recent times of okay, now what? Um, have you received good advice to go now go do what you need to do, or was there advice that you were given a decade ago when you started the company? um, that you can share with others?
Well, the one piece of advice came from someone telling me it was their piece of advice, which is interesting, but must have been great, was there's always room at the top. And
I
that
agree with that. Yep.
resonated because we really think we're competing,
Yeah.
but
Especially in corporate, I think that there's a lot of that nonsense. Um,
gosh,
yeah.
try being only loyal to the truth in a corporate company. It is a rough ride.
Right.
And then you very quickly start to understand why it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I think that was very big for me, and that there's always at least two truths. So if you
Because people have different perspectives of
right,
communication is two ways, right? Just because I say something, did it land in the way that I thought it was going to land? Because people hear things differently because they bring their own um, emotional intelligence, their own backgrounds, their own perspectives, and we've we got to acknowledge that. Um,
it's like, you know, hey, I finished this for you. One person thinks, how nice, and the other person thinks, you don't think I'm capable.
right,
And
right.
and it's that's why silence says so much more
Mm,
times.
that's right.
Mm,
Yeah, I always when we do our therapy sessions, I call them. It's not just what people say or what they put in their homework or how they fill out things. It's a lot of times is what they don't say, the questions that aren't asked. And you're right. There's so much learning in that silence.
mhm,
But you've got to be curious to ask
mhm.
different, questions to kind of get out what's going on.
And be open to understanding that the way you understand the world might
Be
not
different.
reflect. And that's the other thing. I always think, like, in a past life, that I mean, everyone agrees with me, right? Because my integrity and my values are clearly everyone else's.
Right.
No, 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 and that's okay. There's no right or wrong. There just is. But when we approach people with that mindset, then they kind of shut down, and then you lose the conversation part.
Yeah. Well, because think about it. Chandler and I, we talk about this. We've got generational differences of, we've got um, gender, differences and how our journeys were. We've got, a lot of our team, different racial differences. I mean, we all come from and sometimes it's the layered nuances of generation with or religion or whatever, class and socioeconomic differences, um, and that is all muddied and muddled inside of companies and teams um, and you're in some cultures and some companies it is not celebrated the way it needs to be celebrated.
Do you think, and I say this because I'm still exploring, part of the reason is it's very difficult to understand the perspective from the founder or the executive, and then the celebration comes almost like there's it's like a because it's lonely at the top because no one recognizes you anymore because
Right.
everyone's recognizing you. I mean, so it's this, you get recognized every day. We don't need to tell you good job.
Right. Right.
And then that founder's
Right.
like, well, forget you guys.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think founder, it's isolated kind of at the top because there are things that, owners, and especially as you start growing and a lot, you think of yourself inside of the, company when you start having to manage 10 people to 50 people to 500 people that you feel or you should feel responsible for. And you're being told by, upstream, you're not allowed, like, we're giving you this information. You can't share it. Right.
Yes.
But as you get your own an own company, it's like, okay, should I share it? Is this going to be And I think you kind of nailed it. It's like, stick to your truth, stick to the reality, um, be genuine. But I think a lot of founders struggle with that dilemma of, should I be, you know, saying, how much information should I give? Because I have even like, we see that in networking communities, spaces of, can I ask these questions? Because then people might get a reflection of what I don't, what I know or what I don't know, or how bad I'm doing or how great I'm doing, whatever that is. We even find in, entrepreneurial ecosystem kind of networking, there's still fear of, what can I say and who should I say it to? Um, and in order to get the help that they need, and now you go back into the company and go, what should I say? What should I do? How should I? So I think that isolation at the founder level, um, we know it's real, but it's real because they don't. We're, we're in this journey for the first time of, if we came out of the corporate, we were told what to say and what not to say. We were protected under somebody else's brand. Now it's our brand, your brand, my brand of, oh my God, it's very raw, and can be very vulnerable. But a lot of founders don't know where that line is.
Because it's also constantly moving.
And it's constantly changing. And it's not easy. I mean, I think you work with probably founders and, even trying to figure out their personal style, their personal voice in relationship to the company brand, and how do they show up, from an individual, but also as a reflective of the person who started the company. I mean, when we do branding for, startups or scale ups, we're doing the branding, but we've now started doing these executive style guides for the founders, because they feel lost then in the brand, because and where do they show up differently, similar, some, they're being told by their board of advisors, oh, you're too, you know you need to get in line and feel more like the brand. And we're going, but God, your rogueness, your edginess is what made the company. Why are you being told to lose that? It's not authentic. That's and right. Not real to yourself. So we're trying to help them go, look, you and the company are two separate brands. And how do we peel those apart to go, this is what the company stands for. This is the company values. Yours might align, but they might not be 100% from what your personal style, your themes are for your own personal brand. So we try to separate that out and give them that roadmap, because I feel like that is a gap that's missing in the marketplace of, because founders are floundering with that. Either the company brand is living only in that founder brand, and it can't stand alone without it, and it suffers because of it, or the founder just literally doesn't know what to post, how to post, or even like how to show up internally and communicate their own values, their own brand in relationship to the company. So
you're 100%. It's
right. It's the art and science.
And
or the science and art.
It's very interesting to me, because founders need a vision. So like, they're shining a light on a path and everyone's supposed to follow.
Right.
Leaders should be behind people. They're the strongest. They're pushing people forward. You want the person who sees the way. So you're taking the light back, shining it on everyone else and not the future. And then, of course, you're going to see the holes. You're looking at them and you're trying to get past it to go forward. Well, maybe the founder leads the movement, and the leaders make sure that everyone keeps up.
Right. Right.
Right? Like but we've somehow decided that someone who's a founder has to be everything,
Right.
have to be everything.
And that is the you're I call it like the candle in the mirror.
Mhm.
That analogy of, the founder the is the light,
Mhm.
right? They're the candle. But great leaders also recognize when they've got to be the mirror and they've got to have the mirror reflect the light of somebody else. Um, and and yeah, you're right with foundership. It's a hard balance to do that, and sometimes we are told we've got to do that, and because it's it is the vision. It is like we've got to light the way. Um, but it's also, who do you recruit to be within the team to create those
That's
leadership
number one
roles?
job.
Yeah. And there's more room at the top. Absolutely.
Of course.
And I think you have to have a mindset, and I think a lot of founders do, because it's that scarcity versus abundance mindset. And some people only have the scarcity mindset of, well, if I do, because we see that with other founders of like, come into this community. Oh, but there's other people that do what I do. I'm not going to be a part of that group. And I'm like, that's silly. Like, you're losing out on relationships. You're losing out on information. Who cares if they're in your category? Like, you're losing out. It's a scarcity mindset versus, you know what? You might find that you don't compete, and you guys could be referring business to each other, or you could learn they are doing something in a different category, or a different industry, um, and or a different
Find
niche.
you, and you're gonna
Right.
up.
But that they might have a better system that you could learn from. But yeah, but to not even show up in a networking, community building opportunity because of the fear of, well, we're competitors. Well, that's silly.
It
That's
is. It's okay. Like, for example, do you remember when Bud Light had like a trans person in a back flat,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then their sales dropped, so they started
Right.
pushing like Corona.
Yeah.
Did you hear this?
Yeah, yeah.
And forgive me, I think this is the correct like story, but basically they're both owned by Anheuser-Busch.
Right.
So,
But
you know,
but people don't
but
the
COVID,
most consumers don't realize that they're a house of brands, right? That they're
right.
just like Coca-Cola owns Dasani water.
It might be, yeah, it might be the same
Right.
beer, to be quite honest. But
Right. Oh, that's true. It's just
coronavirus
in the
didn't
label.
help Corona. So
Oh, do it.
coronavirus doesn't help Corona. So how did they come out of it? They make Budweiser the enemy, and
Mm,
and they inflate Coronas again. And it's the same. So if you're competing with someone, you might not be competing. You might actually at some point be merging
right.
for
Yeah.
literal market share. And if there is a market big enough, which if you're thinking about it, there probably is some market there.
Right.
Um, just do it and welcome them in. What are they going to do? Steal it? And do you know how hard it is to
Right.
hire people and build teams? Like, no, nobody wants to do that.
Yeah. Right.
You founder, just you do. So,
Yeah. No, I'm gonna say, somebody's like, would you start another? No, no. Like, it's hard. It's very hard.
it is hard unless you love it.
Yeah.
Then and you have
I
the
mean, the
ability.
reward is great. Like, when you see, like, I love seeing the transformation of, when we do a rebrand or a refresh, or we're building a marketing engine type of thing, and you see the ahas going off, in the room of, oh, this is what marketing is supposed to do, or this is what advertising is supposed to do, or this is what having a clear brand is supposed to do. It's the most joyous thing, to see the light up. And I especially love it with, whether it's a CEO or a founder, um, uh, light up when they get also clarity around how they can show up better, and serve the company, but also serve themselves in a better way. It is it.
So
There's nothing that can that's better for me, and yeah, to me, it's worth it.
because you love it, and if you don't love it, you cannot expect other people to.
No,
It's just,
no,
hey, come love my company. You hate it. Like, you actually hate it. So, like, why would I want to go love it?
right,
What's like, sorry.
right,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's
yeah, because like Chandler he gets to see those aha moments, the light ups, and it's I don't know. You might not get the joy out of it as much as I do, but I know you're like, "Oh, like we see the the problems that most people don't see." And it's because people don't have the right expectation of what a brand is or what marketing is. People think it's a department, or if it's it's an admin service inside of an organization. And when we start changing those perceptions, and getting people different perspectives around what that is. And then they see the engine working. It's like, ah, wonderful, finally. Um,
Marketing should scare you, uh, because it's happening. It should not scare you to stay still. Like, you should be like,
yeah,
"Ooh, this is gonna be scary." Like, if you feel like, "Ooh, what am I doing?"
right.
Doing it right.
They're doing it right.
You're
That's
doing
right.
it right.
Um, exactly. So, okay, you've said a lot. What would our listeners be really surprised to learn about you?
Okay. I
Something that's not on your LinkedIn. No, but it's not like out there resume wise.
my first my first school was stunt choreography because I thought I was going to be a stunt choreographer.
Because you're in LA. You're like,
So
hey,
I came to LA to do it. My mom was thrilled.
oh my God, really?
And I I really didn't. I felt like a professional. First of all, it was 2007, 2008.
Recession.
There's a safety reason why it's really hard to get into stunt choreography. And so people were getting fired, not hired. And
Uh,
and then I just felt like this professional waiter because you have to like wait for you have to wait for an
professional
audition.
waiter.
Then you got to
That's
wait at the audition, and then you got to wait to hear if they want you. And if they want you, you got to wait to see if they really want you. And then you got to wait around for them to call you. Then you get to set, and you wait around for that, and then you wait for it to come out, and then you wait to get paid. I was like, and then I'm waiting tables. I was like, this is it's a super
like a
fun
professional waiter. You're
uh,
like, this is, and then you jump and you went into social media, of course.
yeah, I went into A&R for music and talent management first.
Oh,
Like I said, I quit a lot. But um, I
but you
think
learned a lot.
I
Yeah.
learned a lot. I learned a lot. I did. A lot of
So, what
fun.
do you do in your free time? Are you still doing stunt choreography? Do you analyze when you watch movies like Mission Impossible? Are you like, oh, I could have done that?
No.
No, you're like, that
By the
is
way, I graduated.
yesteryears. We don't even do that.
No, I graduated from
Um,
school when I was 19.
I
So
didn't
then I
even
had
know
to
there
go
was a
back.
school for that.
You learn these things. Then I had to go back to school to get an actual degree. And I thought I was going to open nightclubs in China, and I studied Chinese, and I traveled to China a bunch.
Oh my goodness.
My
You're,
mom, she's so she's a brave lady.
but hey, that's you got a lot of little experiences you can apply. You
So,
got lots of
hey,
perspectives. Yeah. Who's your best cheerleader or your greatest cheerleader?
oh, I would say like I have different kinds. So I mean, my husband is a great cheerleader, and my mom is a great cheerleader. But she's more like the perspective cheerleader. She's like the
Yeah.
coach,
Right.
She's like telling you. And if I had to say like my biggest cheerleader, yeah, I think those are probably the two
The two biggest ones.
biggest. And then I have a one brother that we don't do anything similar, but we sort of just like compete with each other around like dumb things that keeps me going. Just little
And
like
he gives you the shout outs.
he gives
Gives you
me
the pats on the
the
back when
shout
you
out.
need it.
Yeah.
All right. So if we met a year from now, what wins would we be celebrating?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. We met a year from now. What we would be celebrating is, is a launch of curriculums
Ah,
inside of universities, um, to help their first athletes and performers figure out who they are
nice.
and, how to
Find find their purpose, kind of like find their personal brand kind of a thing, or what they should
uh,
be, what path should they be on?
identity and personal branding. So the market, and there's plenty of space here, so please, if you think
Yeah.
that the athletes, they now get paid like
Oh,
professional
yeah.
athletes, right? And so everyone's
Yeah.
jumping on the market.
And they're that's happening in high school, starting in high school. No, just college. Yeah. Because
So
that's new, right?
it is new.
Huh?
And
It's changed now? Okay. Schools are paying. Yeah, I'm like listening to Chandler. He's the sports nut. Like
yeah.
I'm not.
Mhm. And also athletes, their career is only so long,
Yeah.
but their contracts, when they get them early, will be longer than their career most likely, and they can get into
Yeah.
bad ones, and they can ruin their career, and they can get sued, and
Yeah.
now all of a sudden, yes, they can get paid, but what's the second truth? Second truth is they can also be taken advantage of pretty significantly
Oh, yeah.
very
Yeah.
early on in life. And as
Yeah.
someone who came from the student loan generation, I find that troublesome.
Right. Right.
So, um, and that is the perspective, piece.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah.
it's also
And that you're right. That's a great curriculum um to to be included in universities or any kind of like a master class kind of course because it's I mean my brother-in-law was a college athlete, uh, um, went to go work for the Pistons, then the Utah Jazz. This was back in 70s and 80s and 90s. Went to Italy, then went overseas to Italy, and then when so he had a unusually long career for in pro basketball, um, and then retired when he was like what late 30s. I mean, I think he played up until I think 39 or 40. So he, a
mhm.
20-year career, but he got taken advantage of by millions, all of his savings, everything
Yes.
was because he partnered up with somebody, didn't structure the business correctly,
Mhm,
um, didn't know to like set things up in either a C or an LLC. It was set up under their own like personal social security. And the partner was like, because he's not, doesn't know, that person was the bookkeeper, the
mhm.
CFO of the business, and embezzled, took all like everything. And he had
Oh,
to rebuild in their 40s, and they weren't equipped for that. They didn't learn any of that. So they struggled. And I think that still happens.
oh,
Um, Oh, yeah. Chan was saying that's happening like with parents. Like parents are taking advantage of the kids. We're seeing that in like the celebs,
oh, yeah.
actors and stuff. So, yeah,
They buy
totally.
they buy your name.
Right.
So, the thing that comes to mind is, "Tell me what you see, and I'll tell you what it's worth."
Mm,
The sales, right? And
yeah.
you see the version of you now, they see the potential, and they're gonna pay for the potential.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna be mad if you don't reach the potential they see. And it's in a contract. And then they call it royalties because
Mm,
you're a servant and they're not. And
right.
that's how it works. And there's I think a framing to that that can have a profound impact because when someone's taking 30% gross
Mm,
from your work and you're coming in and you have a celebrity lifestyle, 70% is left to you, you're in debt to them immediately.
right.
Contractually, you have to work.
Right.
And that's a problem.
Right.
Big
And I
problem.
feel like the musicians are over the last like 5 years, 10 years. I mean, Prince tried to say this back in like the 90s I mean, that's why he changed his name to the symbol
That's why
was
Kanye
purely to get out of the contract.
that's why
Um,
when
and,
World Peace
and
changed his name,
yeah.
P. Diddy
So
changed
it's like they're becoming way more vocal but it's still not, no one's teaching then, okay, how do I get out of it? I'm recognizing it, but then how do I prevent
It's
it?
like
How do
founder
I
though.
enter these? Yeah.
You don't know,
Um,
so you do it.
you don't know until you're told, like how, like, or to ask the questions, or to go, no, no, I'm going to reshape this this contract. I'm not going to accept this contract. So yeah,
Because your name is so like you are
it's
important,
right, right,
especially if you're
um,
young. It's a lot of potential.
right.
That's a lot of future
A lot of
dividend.
potential, right? Right. Or was it like, Taylor Swift, after, with her, with the
Mhm.
Scooter Braun, and Scooter was like, I thought she thought I was doing her a favor. Like in his perspective, he was like, I didn't know that she'd be mad. I thought she would be happy.
Well, do you know the flip side of that? The second
What?
truth? The second
Yeah.
truth is that she's a very smart team.
Yeah.
And what they did is they made him a demon, demonized him, so she could re-record her music, and now she made twice as much
Right.
money.
Right.
So that girl gets paid. Like, dude,
Oh yeah.
that
Yeah.
girl gets paid. I don't know what the whole like lively thing's going on, but I guarantee you that Taylor Swift's getting paid. Like, I don't.
Oh yeah.
But
Yep.
her dad's like a big um like
Finance guy.
big finance.
Yeah. Yeah. And her mom's like super protective
Yeah,
of her brand, and
she's the
yeah,
family business. Yeah.
that's right. She was the she took after, who was it? The Kardashian, the mom, that manager. Why can't Chris? Yeah, it's like, why can't I think of her name? Who was the, the manager? She gets paid 20% or 30% off of her everything of the
Oh
kids.
yeah. And
Yeah,
honestly, no shade. You're on. They're honest about it. There. There's some other
yeah,
things I'm like, but like, but
yeah. Chandler's like, hey, be honest.
you know, it's your inheritance. You have to contribute.
Right. That's right. Nah. All right. So if you had to sum up your journey in one word, what would be your word?
I think I know this by now. I would say the word identity comes to mind, but
No, that's good. Like
yeah,
finding your own identity, finding others' identity.
I'm still trying to figure out if I was creating it or discovering it.
You're still on the journey.
You know, like which one is true?
Right.
Mm,
True. Truth would be, yeah, that's a good
yeah.
word too. Yeah. And then next chapter, as you move ahead, what word is going to define that chapter?
Oh, this one I got posterity.
Ah, why posterity? I'm going to say it wrong.
I I find myself in a place where I'm now thinking about what I'm leaving behind more than I'm thinking about what I'm creating for me.
Ah,
If that, and so
yeah, more like legacy, that, or
legacy, yeah, exactly. Like the what I am contributing going to leave the world
are
in
you going
a
to,
better place
yeah, yeah,
for, and that's probably because I had kids or got
yeah.
older. I'm not quite sure, but the
No,
sharing
that's,
story for the future is important.
yeah, that's what, my biggest lesson whenever the kids like, mom always says, leave the room better than you found it.
I was like,
Leave whatever space you're in.
IP identity and posterity.
Right. I love it.
That's so good. Do thank you for the discovery session.
um, well, awesome. I love this conversation. You and I could talk for hours.
No,
Um, and but thanks for hanging out. But before we go, where can people connect with you, find out more about what you're doing? How can they support you?
it's cynthialive.com and at Cynthia Live on most platforms. And you can support me by reaching out. I mean, I
Yeah.
honestly the curriculum creation, even people reaching out with questions gives me more insight into
Yeah.
what needs to be created. So I'm here, I respond and
Well, you hear it. So reach out to Cynthia Live. Give her
yeah.
your questions, your perspectives, um, comments. We would love it. Ah, thank you,
Thank you.
Cynthia. I appreciate it. And that's a wrap on today's chaos. But the journey doesn't stop here. If you found yourself nodding along or laughing at what we were saying, make sure to subscribe, share, and leave us that 5-star review on Spotify or Apple. You can also dig deeper into founder resources or tools and episodes of Hello Chaos over at Orange Whip. That is orangewip.com for work in progress. Until next time, stay curious, stay scrappy, and remember, we are all a work in progress. So until next week, I will see you later. Thanks.